Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Loving on You Summit. I am Dion, and I am a holistic menopause coach, owner and founder of Dion's Wellness Wagon, where I support perimenopause and menopausal women who are struggling with unexplained weight gain, cravings, lack of energy, hot flashes, night sweat, bloating, moodiness. Ladies, you know the gamut. If you are in that stage, I'm sure you can relate to all of that. And thank you so much. My slide is moving here. Thank you so much, Keisha, for inviting me to present on your Loving on You Summit, and congratulations. It's my honor to be here to share what I love to do, and that is supporting women on their wellness journey. Today, we are going to talk about three of the secrets and the keys to naturally losing belly fat and other weight at the same time, naturally, no meds here at all. And the reason why I chose this topic is because in my private coaching practice, this is the number one complaint that I see women, perimenopause, menopausal women struggle with the most. And it's the area where I tend to spend most of my time trying to help these women revamp their whole protocols and lifestyle in order to tackle that primary complaint that's there. So before we get started, I want to clarify a few terms that you might be familiar with, but I just want to make the distinction between them, and that is perimenopause and menopause. They are two different situations. Now let's go into perimenopause first. So perimenopause is where the body starts to gear up for the end of the reproductive years. And with this comes a multitude of changes and hormonal imbalances and hormonal changes for that matter, leading up to that menopausal phase, the last period. Usually perimenopause occurs around 35 to 40. It varies from woman to woman. And perimenopause is a very complex time because the hormonal changes in the body from 1 month to the next, they're all different. And to further complicate matters when it comes to menopause, it's not one hormone that's responsible for these imbalances. They work like an orchestra. If one hormone is out of balance, the whole bunch is going to be out of balance because they work together. And during the perimenopausal phase, the ovaries starts to produce less estrogen and progesterone, which are our reproductive hormones. And ovulation becomes inconsistent and unpredictable. It is important also that I mention that usually during the perimenopausal phase, women experience, not all, most experience estrogen dominance during this stage. And that in and of itself can create a whole ton of other problems as well. So let's look at menopause. Menopause is when a woman stops her period for a period of 12 consecutive months. This signifies no more babies. It's the end of the reproductive years, infertility. And this occurs usually around 52. Again, this can vary from woman to woman. And during the menopausal stage, typically, a woman has lower levels of estrogen, which is different from woman to woman and also leads to a bunch of different symptoms as well. So there you have it. Now let's take a look at some of the symptoms. And the thing is, perimenopause and menopausal symptoms are very similar. Even though they're different phases and different things are going on in the body at this time, they are very similar. The ones that I see, and that's typical for most women and according to science and research, the ones that are most common, and there are a ton of them: weight gain, particularly around the midsection, which is where I'm going to be spending my time talking about today, and difficulty really losing that. But in addition to that, there are a ton of others, and I did talk about a few in my introduction in terms of where I help women, the bloating, the craving, the lack of energy, and all of those. You can kind of see that from the slide that I'm sharing. So there are a bunch, and this is not all, because there are women who suffer from other types, have other symptoms that are not very common, but yet they are also related to menopause and perimenopause. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, um, we are going to talk about losing that stubborn belly fat that so many of us struggle with. Now, do you feel you're here, you're listening to this? Do you feel like you eat healthy? You have tried lots of strategies and diets out there with the struggling trying to lose weight in general, and also belly fat, right? I mean, we all want to lose some weight, but more problematic, I know, I find that even when women lose weight, the belly fat still stays. It's like the last thing to go, right? So, or are you feeling like, I don't even know where to start. I've tried so many things before, and I just don't know where to start. And then you might be like, I'm just gonna give it up. This is it. This is the phase. This is part of the aging process. This is what I'm going through. So I'm just gonna burn through it, and it'll go away eventually, right? I hear that all the time, and that's very typical because we become very frustrated with not being able to see results when we're trying so many things. But I want to tell you, for the next 10 minutes or so, hang in there with me. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as possible, that you can give up the struggle. I am going to show you a better way and share some secrets and keys with you that you can put into practice right away at home. You don't need anything extra. You just need to be willing to start executing and be committed to making changes that's going to help to get you there. You're in the right place. No worries. So before I start, I get into that, I just wanted to share a quick story with um, one of my clients, Anne, whom I've worked with. And Anne came to me at the age of 46 years old. She's a corporate leader, a mother of three girls. And she came to me because she was having difficulty. She had gained a lot of weight, and she could not understand why, because nothing had changed in her diet. She really exercised frequently. She maintained a relatively good diet, and pretty balanced meal, and everything was working well for her up until a couple years ago, when she said, I don't understand. I changed nothing, and I just started to gain weight. And so by the time she had um, signed up, she had come to me for us to work together. She had gained 25 pounds, and she was utterly confused because it was just, she hadn't changed anything, and it had been working for many years. And so it kind of left her very broken and confused and not knowing where to go. And so I just listened to her story, and without having done any kind of assessment or having to send her to her doctor to do any kind of hormonal testing, I listened, and my summation was that she was having some hormonal imbalances. Obviously she was. And then we did an assessment, and sure enough she was. And then we had her go to her doctor to do some of the more scientific tests, to kind of just test the different levels of her hormones. And sure enough, she was having hormonal imbalances with her estrogen, her progesterone, stress hormone, and also her insulin levels. So they were all out of balance, which was creating the unwanted weight gain that Anne was suffering with. So I got her on a plan. I got her on a 21-day rebalance plan. We made some modifications to her lifestyle, added some protocols, some daily protocols, and got her going. And within 6 weeks, Anne started to see some results of some of the work that we have been doing. So all is not lost. There is hope. So that is Anne's story. All right, so let's get into it. As I mentioned, I'm gonna give you 3 keys, and these are my keys that I've seen that worked with the women that I work with in my coaching practice, and 3 secrets and the 3 keys. So I want to share those with you today. So I know we've been taught for many years, many of us, by our healthcare professionals, um, that menopausal symptoms and perimenopausal symptoms such as weight gain, it's a normal part of the process, and you just have to live with it until it's gone. And we know that this is not true, right? I am going to give you some secrets and some keys that you can start using right away when you get home, or you're probably home right now, that you can start this week and try to see what works for you. Now, my first secret is eating in a way that creates hormonal balance. And what does that mean? Now, a lot of, like I mentioned, healthcare professionals will tell people, this is part of the stage. The other thing that I hear quite often is women are instructed to, restrict your calories, eat less, exercise more. That way you will lose fat, you burn fat, and all of this stuff will go away. And while I think that works for a short period of time, it's not sustainable. And we'll get into that a little bit more in a bit. And what is the key to that if you're going to eat in a way that balances your hormone? The key to that is not to restrict calories. It's not a good thing. I know that is what we've been taught. This is what we hear all the time. This is a lot of what the diet programs, especially this time of the year, or the commercials that we see, that's the key. The key, they say, to losing weight is to restrict calories, but that's not true. So old school nutrition, part of what we've been learning is that what mattered for optimal weight and health is how much you're eating. And specifically, we're taught that if you really want to lose weight, you just have to cut the calories, exercise more, burn the calories, eat less. And with this, unfortunately, a lot of us have gotten caught up into it. And a lot of women were directed to cut calories by 500 calories a day from what they were used to eating. And that sometimes can amount to about 3,500 calories a week, which we were taught that would be about a pound of weight loss per week, right? And for many, this meant they were eating 12 to 1,300 calories a day. Yeah. And so this kind of calorie restriction, it usually causes weight loss. For sure, you are going to lose weight, but at a certain point, the weight loss will stop, and your body is going to require you to eat even fewer calories in order to lose weight. And there are lots of classic examples that we see in the marketplace today, where there are some, and I won't call any names, that instructs you to count points. Essentially, it's calories. You're counting calories. That's what they're doing. And the whole point of that is to keep the points low or keep the calories low. And here's the bad part. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're eating healthy, because you're just worried about calories. So if you're eating something that's very unhealthy, that has a certain amount of calories, as long as you keep the calorie counts to a certain amount, it doesn't matter. And that's where the fallacy lies. And we get caught up into this cycle, and it continues over and over, and people find themselves going to these weight loss programs year after year after year. It's a totally vicious cycle. And that's why restricting calories just totally does not work. Here's another reason why it doesn't work. Restricting calories causes your body to go into starvation mode. And what does that mean? See, your body thinks that it needs to hold on to every calorie you eat once you're restricting it because it's not sure when you're going to feed it again. And all this cause is for your metabolism to slow down. And during your perimenopause and menopausal phase, that's the last thing you want for your metabolism to slow down. We do not want that at all. We are trying to burn fat, lose weight, and be the person that we were supposed to be, or be in the body that we want for ourselves. And so, even if you're eating something healthy, your body's going to do that because it's become so accustomed to being in this starvation mode. And so, you can only stay on diets like this for so long because oftentimes you start getting hungry and then you start having cravings and it becomes very frustrating, right? Um, because you can't eat what you want to eat and you get very humiliated. And the serious concern that calorie restriction leads to is stress and frustration, which is a whole nother set of issues as well. And even though you might not feel like you're stressed, it's putting your body in a state of stress, the calorie restriction. And so this stress causes your body to release more stress hormones, cortisol. And when cortisol is released, that increases your blood glucose level, and that in turn causes your body to pump out more insulin. And when your body is releasing insulin, it can't burn fat. And when your body is in a state of stress, it can't burn fat. So instead, your body stores it. Now, isn't that quite the opposite of what we want? So, my suggestion is if you are on any kind of calorie restriction diet, to just not do that. You're not serving your body well at all. And here's my pro tip to you that I teach my private clients in my coaching practice. Eat foods that are going to rev up your metabolism. That's what you want, not to restrict it and cause stress and frustration and increase insulin and increase cortisol and throws the whole body into turmoil. An example would be foods like rich protein, meats, eggs, and legumes. Those are great foods to speed up your metabolism. All right, we're ready for secret number 2. Are you guys ready for secret number 2? Fats don't make you fat. Neither do they lead to heart disease or weight gain. All fats are not created equally. First of all, we need fats in our bodies for insulation. We need it for vitamin and mineral absorption. We need it to protect our organs. High quality fats are what you need. They help to steady our metabolism. They keep our hormones level. And they nourish our hair, our skin, and our nails and provide lubrication to keep our bodies functioning fluidly. So good, healthy fats are what we need. Healthy fats create hormones, they reduce inflammation, and of course, they boost our metabolism. And so what are some of the sources of healthy fats that we want to be eating? Healthy fats, avocado, salmon, nuts, coconut oil, and oil byproduct, coconut itself. All of those are good, healthy, rich fats that our bodies just love. So please, ladies, don't stay away from fat for the sake of thinking that it's bad for you. Certain types of fats that are bad for you that we don't want. Processed fats, those are the types of fats that we don't want. Processed fats are very damaging to our bodies. Hydrogenated or trans fats in prepared foods. So if you are a fast food lover, you've got a problem. If you are a person who loves packaged foods, and I get it, they're convenient, but they're not good if you're trying to lose weight. They are packed with unhealthy fats that does not serve us at all. So please, let's stick to the very, very good and healthy fats. And here's the other thing that people think why fats are bad. The bad fats actually, those are the ones that compromise your cardiovascular system. They compromise your immune system, and they contribute to all types of behaviors, high blood pressure, and different diseases or diseases in the body. So we want to stay away from any kind of trans fats or unhealthy fats. I'm just going to skip over this one because I think we've talked a little bit about that when I get into my last secret, because I think I might be over time, and Keisha is probably going to kill me because I do have my own time slot. Okay, secret number 3 is eating foods that create excess inflammation. What is the key? The key is you want to avoid foods that make you inflamed. Now, some of the primary offenders for foods that make you inflamed are excess alcohol. I noticed you can have a glass of wine, ladies. I didn't say all alcohol, I meant excess alcohol. Dairy, inflammatory. Gluten, inflammatory. Processed foods that we just talked about, inflammatory. Inflammation is a big trigger for belly fat. So if we can release those inflammatory foods, you're really going to be doing yourself a service in your quest to lose belly fat and just lose weight in general. Your big favor you're going to be doing. And diets that are high in refined carbs. And look, once in a while we do slip off during the holidays, birthdays, whatever. We do have some cake or cookie or donut or whatever, but this should not be a regular part of any woman's diet. Once you are in that perimenopause and menopausal phase, it should not be something that is a daily part of your eating habits. It really shouldn't. If anything, it should only be a treat and not something that you eat on a daily basis. And in addition to reducing inflammatory foods, another great thing is to be on a detox program or detox the body, which also helps to remove inflammation. And here's my pro tip to you that I share too in my coaching practice. Eat more anti-inflammatory foods. Well, what are those? For example, blueberries, green tea, wild-caught salmon, ginger, turmeric, extra virgin olive oil, dark leafy green vegetables, and sweet potatoes, not regular Idaho potatoes, but sweet potatoes. All of these are great anti-inflammatory foods. Great anti-inflammatory foods. All right, so let's sum up what we have talked about today. I shared with you 3 secrets and the keys to losing belly fat. We talked about eating in a way that creates hormonal balance, which is let's not restrict calories. We've talked about all the issues that come with restricting calories. The second thing we talked about is fats do not make you fat. Unhealthy fats, saturated fat, trans fats, but not healthy, good fats. So let's not broad brush fats and think all fats are the same, because they're not all created equally. eating lots of healthy fats are going to put us on our weight loss journey, speed up our metabolism, and help us shed some fat. Eating foods that create excess inflammation. We want to be eating more anti-inflammatory foods. Now, my call to action to you as I wrap up is for you to pick one of those secrets, one of those keys that resonated with you today and work on that one thing. You're going to be receiving a workbook that's going to have some more details of what I've talked about today. And so you'll have an opportunity to go back and see some of the secrets and some of the keys that I've talked about. I suggest pick one. You're here, you're listening. So take a step, take an action, and pick one, and whichever one that resonates with you, and see how that works for you. With that, I want to thank you for listening. It was my pleasure, my absolute pleasure, sharing with you what I love and some of the things that I have found from working with women in my practice that have worked. And I hope you found something that's useful for you and that resonates. And with that, thank you so much. And I will see everyone another time. Thank you. Bye-bye.